Hello and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari directs Transport Minister to link Lekki Deep Seaport to rail. Senate to debate judgment allowing political appointees to contest primaries tomorrow. U.S. Treasury Deputy Adeyemo to visit Europe next week to coordinate Russia sanctions. Details of these stories and more in a moment. First, in our news tonight is a report that President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the Transportation Minister Rotimi Amaechi to consult and submit a memorandum to the Federal Executive Council to link the Lekki Deep Seaport with the railway network. The President gave the directive after inspecting the Deep Seaport project during his working visit to Lagos State, praising the minister's efforts at making the project a reality. The President's directive was contained in a statement by his Senior Special Assistant to Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, as part of his engagement in Lagos. The President inspected the rate of work done at the first deep seaport in Nigeria, located in Lagos Free Zone, 65 kilometers east of Lagos. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has inaugurated the 3 million metric tons Dangote fertilizer plant in Lagos. The inauguration took place at the Lagos Free Trade Zone, Lekki. The President described the event as a demonstration of enhancing the social development of the country, while also commending the fertilizer team. He said the government would gain excessively in foreign earnings from the new plant. The fertilizer plant was built at a cost of $2.5 billion with a capacity to produce 3 million metric tons of urea per annum. In the meantime, President Buhari has commissioned a new terminal at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport in Lagos. The new terminal is expected to handle 20 million passengers a year. It comprises a 4-story main terminal building, 3-story finger building, 2-story cargo terminal building, apron and external and ancillary works. In a related development, the Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika says the number of airlines and jobs provided in the aviation sector has quadrupled since 2015, when President Buhari assumed office. Sirika stated this during the commissioning of the new Murtala Muhammad International Airport terminal in Lagos. He said the passenger number had quadrupled, with entrepreneurship including catering and other ground handling blossoming. The minister thanked President Buhari for the growth in the aviation sector. Away from that, federal government has lauded the presidential implementation of over 150 enabling business environment council. Minister of Information and Culture Lai Mohammed said the reforms were responsible for moving Nigeria up 39 places on the World Bank Doing Business Index since 2016. Mohammed said the implementation made it possible for Nigeria to be named twice as one of the top 10 most improved economies in the world over the last 3 years, and one of only 2 African countries to make the list. In its Global Competitive Report, the World Economic Forum recognized Nigeria's business environment as one of the most entrepreneurial in the world and highlighted its improved competitiveness in enabling business environment. In another development, the Nigerian Bar Association (NBA) has asked legal practitioners and the public to exercise restraint after the Federal High Court in Umuahia ruled in favor of the removal of Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act with immediate effect. The act implied that a political office holder or public servant needed to resign from office 3 months before the commencement of party primaries before he or she could take part as delegate in primaries of political parties. In a statement, NBA President Olumide Apata said the association was aware of unsavory remarks made about the judgment and person of Justice Evelyn Anyadike by some Nigerians, including members of the bar. He, however, insisted that the various courts across the nation should follow due process in the execution of their duties to mitigate any form of breakdown of law and order. On legislative matters, Senate will debate a recent judgment by a federal high court sitting in Umuahia, nullifying the provisions of the newly amended Electoral Act 2022 passed by the National Assembly. Justice Evelyn Anyadike, in a judgment, held that the section of the act was unconstitutional, invalid, illegal, null and void, and of no effect. Anyadike said the law could not stand when it was in violation of the provisions of the Constitution. Consequently, the court ordered the Attorney General of the Federation to forthwith delete the said subsection 12 of Section 84 from the body of the Electoral Act. The federal lawmakers are expected to discuss the development tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Senate has called on security agencies in the country to be proactive in the fight against insurgency, banditry, and terrorism to prevent further loss of lives and property. The Deputy Senate President Ovie Amaechi made the call following a point of order raised by the Deputy Whip Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, representing Niger North District. Rising on Order 42, Senator Sabi Abdullahi drew the attention of the Senate to the recent onslaught by bandits in his senatorial district. The lawmaker lamented that the bandits, who came in large number from Zamfara State, attacked a police station at Nasco Town in Magama local government area of Niger State. According to him, the divisional police officer, some policemen and residents were killed by the bandits during the attack on the town. To the lower chamber now, where the bill to establish a federal medical center, which was sponsored by member representing Degema and Boni Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Farah Dagogo, has been passed into law. The passage followed a report by the House Committee on Health Institutions, which was laid for consideration on February 1, 2022. At the Committee of the Whole, chaired by the Deputy Speaker Idris Wase, the House scrutinized and considered the section's schedule and explanatory memorandum, where further amendments were effected. The bill was later adopted at the resumed sitting of the House when it was put up for third reading and passed into law. In the meantime, the House of Representatives is asking the Central Bank of Nigeria to reinforce the use of coins on Nigerians. During plenary in Abuja, the lawmakers advocated the use of coins as a legal tender and asked the CBN to ensure banks' total compliance. The resolution came after a motion was moved by a lawmaker representing Toro Federal Constituency, Bauchi State, Muda Umar. Naira coins are no longer in circulation in Nigeria due to their diminished value and inflation. Away from that, Inspector General of Police IGP Usman Baba has commended police officers who rejected 300,000 naira bribe and returned 600,000 naira erroneously paid into one of their accounts. The commendation was contained in a statement by the Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi. Among those lauded were Sergeant Samson Ekikere, attached to 22 Police Mobile Force Ikeja, Lagos, for his professionalism on Saturday when he recovered a wallet belonging to one Lukman Abaja and traced the owner to deliver the item. In a separate development, the Federal Road Safety Corps has charged drivers to conduct medical health checkup regularly so as to be healthy while traveling on a journey. The Corps warned drivers against keeping petrol in the boot of their cars. The FRSC Sector Commander, Kwara State Command, Jonathan Owade, gave a warning while speaking at a health seminar organized for members of the Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria in Ilorin, the state capital. Owade underscored the need for the association to create the opportunity to conduct health checkup for its members and charged them to ensure their vehicle were in good condition always. Elsewhere, Chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, Bolaji Owasanoye, says corruption is fueling political instability in West African nations. Owasanoye spoke during the 5th Annual General Assembly of the Network of Anti-Corruption Institutions in West Africa, hosted by the ICPC and Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Abuja. Owasanoye noted that several other factors like political instability, insecurity, poor governance structures, weak rule of law, and corruption worsened the situation. He added that given the high mobility of illicit financial flows, light arms, drug trafficking, human trafficking, and all factors that led to weak states, collaborative efforts are important. In politics, the People's Democratic Party (PDP) has remained divided along the north-south lines over its presidential ticket zoning. Rising from a summit in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, the South-South leaders warned that the party might lose the opportunity to retake power if it failed to allow its stronghold to produce the candidate. In a communique titled "Engendering a South-South Agenda for 2023 and Beyond," the South-South leadership of the party, made up of governors, federal lawmakers, former governors, and other stakeholders, demanded that the zone be handed the ticket in the spirit of fairness, equity, and justice. Recall that PDP had, through its publicity secretary, Debo Ologunagba, declared it would not stop presidential aspirants from the north who have indicated interest in the ticket. In Plateau, the House of Assembly has declared the seat of its immediate past Speaker, Abok Ayuba, vacant following his defection to the main opposition People's Democratic Party (PDP). The decision was taken during plenary at the temporary chamber of the House at Old Government House, Jos. Speaker of the House, Yakubu Sanda, who presided over the plenary, said the decision of the House followed a letter from the Plateau State Chapter of the All Progressives Congress (APC), urging the Speaker to declare Abok's seat vacant. He said the action followed Abok's defection from the APC to the PDP last weekend. Meanwhile, Federal High Court Abuja will on Friday deliver judgment in a suit filed by the People's Democratic Party against Governor Ben Ayade of Cross River. The PDP had, through its counsel Emmanuel Ukala, filed the suit before Justice Taiwo to seek an order sacking the governor and his deputy over their defection to the All Progressives Congress, among others. It could be recalled that Taiwo had yesterday ordered 2 House of Representatives members representing Cross River and 18 lawmakers from the State Assembly to vacate their seats over their defection to APC. Elsewhere, the Lagos State government has arraigned a bus rapid transit BRT driver, Andrew Ominikoran, before a high court sitting at Tafawa Balewa over alleged rape and murder of his passenger, Oluwabamise Anyanwole. Ominikoran was arraigned on a 4-count charge bordering on rape, conspiracy, and murder preferred against him by the Lagos State government before Justice Sherifat Sanaike. At the commencement of the hearing, the State's Director of Public Prosecution, Dr. Jide Martins, had told the court that the matter was for the arraignment of the defendant. In education, Rivers State government has announced the demotion of 14 principals of public schools and the withdrawal of the operational licenses of 21 private schools over their alleged involvement in examination malpractices. State Commissioner for Education, Professor Kaniye Ebeku, confirmed this to journalists in Port Harcourt. Ebeku said the action followed a letter written to the State Ministry of Education by the West African Examination Council, The letter contained a list of 35 secondary schools in the state that had been delisted for malpractices in the conduct of WAEC examinations in 2021. Back here, as the world marks World Water Day 2022, communities in Akwa Ibom have called on the state government to come to their aid by providing clean and portable water for the people. Speaking with Spectrum Television, residents of some communities in the state noted that they had only one stream from which they depended for all their water needs. They said the stream was not fit for human consumption. A correspondent has a report. In a related development, the Associate Professor of Science, Health and Environmental Journalism with the University of Uyo, Dr. Herbert Bata, has called on government and communities to be conscious of the need to safeguard and protect water resources. Bata, who made the call during Spectrum Television Rise and Shine morning show, noted that water was one of the most crucial resources and called for more investment in the area to ensure every resident had access to portable and safe drinking water. He also spoke on the need for government to invest in sewage and water systems.
Sort of awareness to make people know that it is good to take water not for granted, but take water seriously and to safeguard the sources of water, whether they are in lakes or in rivers or underground. People have to be conscious, governments have to be conscious, communities have to be conscious about the need to protect water resource because it is a most crucial resource. Without it, no agriculture can take place, no industrial concerns can take place. Many things depend on water. Even our very survival depends on water. With the rate the population is expanding in Nigeria exponentially, government just has to find a way of constructing central sewage and water systems so that, as I said, you have a central pool, the water goes there, it's treated, and then sent to homes through reticulation. Those reticulations are not there anymore. So it is time for government to invest in those kind of projects so that we can safeguard our sources of water.
Still to come in the news. CBN's MPC blames rising inflation on fuel and electricity tariff. Do stay with us.
Follow Spectrum TV everywhere you go on your Android and your iOS devices. Join our social media community. Like us, follow us, share, comment on our post, and let's get interactive. And do well to visit our website at www.spectrumtv.ng. Now you have no excuse not to be connected to the first privately owned television station in the Aqua Cross region. Spectrum Television. Broadening your horizon.
Many thanks for staying tuned. In Africa, a former militia leader from the Central African Republic, Mazime Gawaka, has appeared for the first time at the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Gawaka is accused of committing war crimes and crimes against humanity. He was handed over to the ICC earlier this month by charge following an arrest warrant. Gawaka, who is a national coordinator of a band of mainly Christian militias, is suspected of committing atrocities against the Muslim population, including murder, torture and the use of child soldiers between at least 2013 and 2014. His next appearance at the ICC for a confirmation of charges hearing will be January 31, 2023. Still in Africa, the Anti-Corruption Commission has charged the acting chairman of Zambia's main opposition party and former Zambia Justice Minister Given Lubinda on 5 counts, including a $500,000 corruption scandal. Lubinda's arrest is the latest twist in a series of prosecutions of high-profile officials for the previous executive defeated in the August 2021 elections. The Anti-Corruption Commission says the charges are related to property belonging to him and several deposits in bank accounts that are suspected to be proceeds from criminal activities. Recall that following his election last year, President Hakainde Hichilema had vowed to fight against graft and recover state assets allegedly stolen under the previous government. Elsewhere, alleged failure of Ugandan government to hold security officials accountable for the alleged detention and torture of hundreds of government critics and protesters has been condemned in a report by Human Rights Watch. Reports say 34 former detainees and witnesses were interviewed by the rights body, detailing incidents of forced disappearances, detention in non-designated places known as safe houses, and torture. The group said those detained were held in various places, including a room in the basement of the Parliament building, residential property around the capital, Kampala, and an island on Lake Victoria. Away from that, the United States has imposed sanctions on Sudan's Central Reserve Police Force for human rights abuses. The Treasury Department accused the force of being at the forefront of the crackdown on protests against military rule in the Northeast African nation. Treasury Under Secretary Brian Nelson, who in a statement condemned Sudan's security services for killing, harassing and intimidating Sudanese citizens, alleged that the actions were increasing the crisis in Sudan. According to medics, regular protests calling for the civilian rule have taken place since a military coup led by Army Chief Abdel al-Burhan on October 25, with heavy-handed crackdowns leaving 87 dead. Under the U.S. sanctions, any Sudanese police assets in the United States will be frozen. In another development, United States Deputy Treasury Secretary KYLIE will travel to Europe next week to coordinate on further measures to ramp up pressure on Russia. A Treasury Department spokesperson told newsmen that the measures included targeting critical sectors of Russia's economy. The spokesperson said Adeyemo will meet with counterparts responsible for sanctions in London, Brussels, Paris, and Berlin between March 28 and April 1. They are expected to also pursue efforts to find and seize assets of Russian elites through a newly created Russian elites, proxies, and oligarchs task force. Meanwhile, Russian soldiers in the Ukrainian city of Kherson have dispersed to protest against their occupation by firing shots at protesters. Footage from Ukraine shared on social media also showed explosions which were reported to be stun grenades. Reports say many people have been injured in the incident. In a related development, the joint Russian winner of last year's Nobel Peace Prize, Dmitry Muratov, has donated his medal to help Ukrainian refugees. Muratov, editor of Russia's leading opposition newspaper, Novaya Gazeta, was awarded the 2021 prize alongside Maria Ressa of the Philippines for their efforts to safeguard freedom of expression. Writing on Telegram, he said he and the newspaper had decided to donate the gold medal to a fund to help Ukrainian refugees. Elsewhere, Chinese recovery teams have picked through the debris of a crashed China Eastern jet after it plummeted from the sky into a mountainside with 132 people on board. Reports say hopes of finding any survivors had vanished a day after the Boeing passenger jet nosedived into the mountain, likely making it China's deadliest air crash in nearly 3 decades. Questions mounted over the cause of the crash, which saw the stricken jet drop 20,000 feet in just over a minute before plunging into rugged terrain in southern China.
Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening. It's another business day. My name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, we begin with commodity markets as fertilizer prices are in record highs. Supply shortages fueled by Ukraine-Russia conflict, along with other pre-existing factors, have driven fertilizer prices to record highs. According to British commodity consultancy CRU, prices for fertilizer raw materials such as ammonia, nitrogen, nitrates, phosphates, potash, and sulfates were up by 30% since the beginning of the year and now exceeds the times of food and energy crisis in 2008. Russia and Ukraine are among the most important producers of agricultural commodities in the world. In 2021, Russia was the world's top exporter of nitrogen fertilizers and the second largest supplier of both potassic and phosphorus fertilizers, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization. Let's look at cryptocurrency adoption in Africa. High inflation and currency devaluation is driving Africans into the cryptocurrency markets to avoid losing the value of their savings. This is according to a report by cryptocurrency exchange KuCoin. In Nigeria, the central bank has devalued the naira 3 times in the last 2 years, while inflation is down from 16.47% in January 2021 to 15.7% in February of 2022. But the figures seem not to reflect market realities. The naira is becoming weaker, and many African countries share a similar fate. The number of cryptocurrency users in Africa increased by 2,467.2% year-on-year, according to KuCoin reports for last year. And this drove growth of cryptocurrency transactions by over 2,500% in 2021, while monthly transactions grew by 1,386.7%. Meanwhile, as cryptocurrency adoption continues to grow in Africa, the continent accounts for 2.8% of crypto transactions in global volumes, and the acceptance of cryptocurrency could improve Africa's gross domestic product. Let's look at Nigeria's economy. The Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has blamed rising energy prices for the hike in inflation rate experienced within the country in February 2022. After the MPC meeting on Monday, the central bank expressed concerns towards increased cost of living for Nigerians. Meanwhile, inflation went up from 15.6% in January of 2022 to 15.7% in February, posting a year-on-year growth, while keeping Nigeria in a double-digit inflation group. The MPC stated that the scarcity of premium motor spirit, high cost of automotive gas oil, and hike in electricity tariff were factors driving the inflation rise. Therefore, CBN will have to intervene financially to improve production output, which in turn will moderate rises in prices. Let's look at Nigeria's oil in the global market. Nigeria's crude oil grade, Bonny Light, is trading at $116.1 per barrel. It is the second most expensive crude in the international oil market, below Saudi Saharan blend oil, which trades at $118.5 $102.50 per barrel. Bonny Light's current trading rate is a 6.91% increase from what it traded over the weekend. The international benchmark price, Brent, is at $113.66 per barrel, while the United States West Texas Intermediate WTI is trading at $110.5 a barrel. Meanwhile, the OPEC reference basket of crudes is made up of the following: Saharan Blend, Algeria; Girasol of Angola; Geno, Congo; Zafiro, Equatorial Guinea; Rabi Light from Gabon; Iran Heavy, Islamic Republic of Iran; Basra Light, Iraq; Kuwait Exports, Kuwait; S. Cedar, Libya; Bonny Light, Nigeria; Arab Light, Saudi Arabia; Morban, UAE; and Mary of Venezuela. It's time for the Nigerian stock market report. At the end of today's trading session, the benchmark All-Share Index sparked 95.37 basis points to close at 47,156.56 points. When compared with the previous trading day, today's data shows 42% improvement in volume and 46% improvement in turnover, as well as 3% improvement in deals. The current market capitalization of the Nigerian Stock Exchange dropped to 25.4 trillion naira, and in aggregate, 105 equities participated in trading, ending with 16 gainers and 29 losers. NPF Microfinance Bank led the gainers with 9.52% share price appreciation, closing at 2.53 naira per share, followed by FCMB Group with 7.94% appreciation and Prestige Assurance Company with 6.52% price appreciation. On the losing side, Japol Gold and Ventures came out last with an end-of-day price appreciation of 8.82% at 0.31 naira per share, followed by Champion Breweries with 8.78% depreciation and Awando with 6.75 price depreciation. Access Bank recorded the highest volume of 44.2 million traded shares in the Nigerian Stock Exchange market. This is all on business news. Do stay with Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Thank you, Biden. Still to come in the news. Lookman to arrive tomorrow for World Cup playoff with KYLIE ruled out over illness. Do stay with us. Thanks for staying tuned. In health, the federal government has announced a review of the international travel protocols for all categories of travelers. Chairman of the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, announced this at a news briefing in Abuja. According to him, the revised international travel protocols, which will come into effect on April 4, provide that fully vaccinated inbound passengers arriving in Nigeria will no longer be required to take a pre-departure PCR COVID-19 test. Mustafa noted that fully vaccinated passengers will not be charged for arrival rapid antigen tests at the airport. He said the rules that apply to fully vaccinated adults also apply to children aged 10 to 18. Mustafa, however, said all passengers traveling out of Nigeria were encouraged to be fully vaccinated and comply with COVID-19 protocols and requirements in their country of destination. Still in health, Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development says it will deworm about 1 million pupils alongside the nationwide school feeding program for improved health. Coordinator, National Social Investment Program, Dr. Umar Binder, disclosed this in Abuja at a 5-day program on planning, meeting and development of information, education, communication materials. Binder, who was represented by the Deputy Director Planning, Research and Statistics in the ministry, Safiya Sani, underscored the need to deworm pupils to improve their health condition. He said the deworming exercise will be for pupils from primary 1 to 6. It's over now to Bright James for trending sports stories.
Thank you, Xavier Robert. Good evening and welcome to the Sports Desk. I am Bright James. We'll begin from tennis, where Rafa Nadal has been ruled out for between 4 and 6 weeks with a stress fracture of the rib. The injury occurred on Saturday during the Spaniard's win against Carlos Alcaraz in the Indian Wells semi-final. The 21-time Grand Slam champion found breathing painful and said he was dizzy as he lost the final to Taylor Fritz. Nadal, who's 35, is expected to miss both of next month's clay court events in Monte Carlo and Barcelona, while the French Open begins in Paris on 22nd May. Nadal has won the title at Roland Garros a record 13 times. In a post on social media, he said when he returned to Spain, he immediately went to visit his medical team to do tests after he played with discomfort in the final. Now, more tennis news. After Grand Slam glory at the Australian Open, Nick Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis are on the hunt for an ATP Masters 1000 crown at the Miami Open, despite losing out to eventual champions John Isner and Jack Sock in the second round at the Paddy Power Open in Indian Wells. The electric Australian duo are back for more fun in the sun as their Miami campaigns kick off against the informed Santiago Gonzalez and Andres Monteni. The Mexican-Argentine pairing has already picked up 2 titles together in 2022 on the clay in Cordoba and Buenos Aires. Now, Stefanos Tsitsipas and Feliciano Lopez have already proved the heat doesn't bother them by surging to the Abierto Mexicano in Acapulco in February. They start their Miami Open campaign by taking on Kazakh duo Alexander Bublik and Andrei Golubev. Now, in football, Sparta Rotterdam goalkeeper Marco Okoye has been ruled out of Nigeria's FIFA World Cup playoff against Ghana. Okoye will miss the 2-legged qualifiers due to illness. Interim technical advisor Augustine Guavon has extended an invitation to Ayimba goalie John Noble to join the team. Noble is expected in camp later tomorrow, Wednesday. Meanwhile, Leicester City winger Ademola Lookman will arrive at camp tomorrow as well. There were fears over Lookman's availability for the games after he missed Leicester's 2-1 win against Brentford in Sunday in the Premier League due to illness. Now finally, from transfers, with the news that Paulo Dybala will not be signing a contract renewal at Juventus, there will be no shortage of clubs interested in signing the Argentine international as a free agent this summer, and Calcio Mercato has offered an indication of the early contenders. Internacional is the first named mention, with it being stated that there could even be a meeting in the coming days, while AC Milan are not as serious despite wanting him in the past. In England, there is reported interest from Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United, though Manchester City are thought to be more keen on signing Borussia Dortmund's Erling Haaland. PSG and Atletico Madrid have also joined the race to sign the Argentine international. And that's it from the Sports Desk this evening. I am Bright James. Over now to Beto Brian for entertainment news.
Thanks, Bright James. Hello and welcome to the Entertainment Desk. I am Beto Brian. First up in our bulletin this evening, renowned Ukrainian actress Okashina Shevets killed in Russian rocket attack. The revered actress was reportedly killed in a Russian rocket attack on a residential building in Kiev, according to the Young Theatre where she was part of the troupe. She was reportedly 67 before her death. Shevets worked in the theatre and film for decades, and her efforts garnered one of Ukraine's highest honors, the title of which roughly translates as Honored Artist of Ukraine. It also sometimes unartfully expressed in English as well-deserving artists. Whatever the case, the honor is only bestowed upon those among the country's most accomplished performing artists. In its announcement, the Young Theatre expressed irreparable grief at Shevets' passing before describing how the actress died. During the rocket shelling of a residential building in Kiev, the statement reads, "A well-deserving artist of Ukraine, Okashina Shevets, was killed." Shevets was born on February 10, 1955. She graduated from the Theatre of Studio at the Ivan Franko Theatre and the Kiev State Institute of Theatre Arts. In addition to her time with the Young Theatre,
Chevette had worked at the Trinopol Music and Drama Theatre and the Kiev Theatre of Satire. In addition to her stage work, Chevette also starred in various Ukrainian films to include Tomorrow Will Be Tomorrow, The Secrets of St. Patrick, The Return of Mukhtar, and the TV show House of Lilith. Chevette is the latest of several public figures to die in Ukraine's Russian invasion. Earlier this month, actor Pasha Lee was also reportedly killed after joining troops to defend the country. This week, 2 journalists working for Fox News, camera operator and war journalist Pierre Zakshinsky and Ukrainian journalist Alexandra Kushevnova were killed while reporting outside Kiev. And moving on to our next story this evening, Kylie Jenner changes baby wolf's name. American makeup mogul Kylie Jenner and her partner Travis Scott have decided to change the name of their son, Wolf. The couple named their son Wolf Webster days after his arrival. In a post shared via her Instagram story on Tuesday, March 22, 2022, the billionaire revealed that they had to change his name because it just wasn't him. She said in a post, FYI, our son's name isn't Wolf anymore. We just didn't really feel like it was him. Just wanted to share this because I keep seeing Wolf everywhere, she wrote. The announcement came hours after Kylie shared photos and a video of her son via her Instagram page. The video titled, and I quote, "To our son" also captures most of Kylie's second pregnancy, including her very first doctor's appointment. Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott welcomed their first child back together in February. The news about the billionaire's cosmetic mogul's pregnancy first broke in August 2021. Scott and Jenner have been in an off-and-on relationship for years now. And back here to Nigeria, where Annie Macaulay Idibia has accused the creators of Netflix's show Young, Famous and African of deleting valuable scenes that showcased other parts of her life aside the scandal surrounding her marriage. The actress says the show opted to portray the sensational parts of her love and marriage. In a series of posts shared on her Instagram story, the actress detailed that she offered varying sides of her life while filming for 4 months in Johannesburg. She was, however, shocked that a huge chunk of it was taken out, leaving only her marriage and vows renewal. She says in a post, and I quote, "I did not go to South Africa for 4 months to plan a wedding. I went there for work, working tirelessly every day in Johannesburg. I gave them the mother, I gave them the tasking career woman and an entrepreneur, and finally gave them the wife. I gave my all to sadly none of these scenes made it to the show. Took out my work, the main role I play in my children's life, and only put out my love and marriage. Regardless, all in all, I'm very happy about the opportunity." The actress was featured alongside South Africa's stars Kiani Mbua, DJ Naked, Tanzania's Diamond Platinums, and her husband, Two-Face Idibia, amongst others. To Netflix's unscripted reality show, which premiered on the 18th of March 2022, and ever since its premiere, Idibia has faced some harsh criticisms for opening up about the controversial aspect of her decade-long marriage with Two-Face Idibia, where she revealed that despite having met him before all other baby mamas, her child for him is his 5th. A lot of Nigerians have taken to social media also questioning the renewal of their vows, asking if Two-Face would be loyal enough to uphold their renewed marital vows for another 10 years without having to cheat on her. And that's our package from the entertainment desk this evening. I am Beto O'Brien, thanking you for watching. Now over to Xavier Roberts.
Many thanks, Beto. Well, that's all we have for you at this time. Do ensure to follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, SpectrumTv.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Do have a terrific night rest.